個係靚啲嘅。
嚇
？Right side.
Right side hot. Okay, temperature. Okay. Usually what?
Now is we put you can put
Okay.
later on. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright.
Thank you.
So
What's this?
this is
The
yes, yes.
apple.
So you want to? I mean.
No problem. When you have a time, then.
Okay.
Mỗi người.
Yes, I was reading that. And I like that. That is really something. I just hope that you won't miss it.
On the left had a statue and had an office over there. Michael Ebel used to have the very special kind of neo-Renaissance kind of architecture, and at the end of the 19th century, Queen Elizabeth Sissi of Austria, you're going to hear a lot about her when you go to Austria, used to walk down the stairs coming down from the top of the palace on the left-hand side, on the top of the hill, and she used to collect paintings and sculptures, and in the counterpart, she didn't pay money for it, because the artists, they could stay here for free, but they had to give free production for the royal family at that time. So this was a deal between artists and also the local monarchy that we had at that time. The set of the building of the bazaar of the castle was nearly totally destroyed during the Second World War, and the renovation started in the year 2000, ended up 2010, and opened like brand new nowadays. We arrive in a short time at Adam Clark Square, and Adam Clark was a Scottish engineer who built up the bridge that you have on the right hand side. Those who are from Great Britain, maybe they've been to the city of Marlow, southwest of London, and they saw the same bridge, because it's a copy of a British bridge that the Scottish architect wrote here in 1826, started the building 1826, finished it in 1848. So we have a British bridge in the city of Budapest, and it was the first bridge to connect the city of Pest to the city of Buda, unifying the two cities forever. On the left hand side you have a funicular taking you to the top of the hill of the castle, built up in 1856, and you can see on the left the only tunnel that you will see in all Hungary here, under the hill of the castle, built up also by Adam Clark, the Scottish engineer. Everything was built up by the Scottish British architect at that time. And on the top of the hill now you see the facade of the royal palace, which is not a royal palace anymore, because we don't have royal family anymore here in Hungary. So is the building of the National Gallery, a little bit the equivalent of the Louvre Museum in Paris. 1,000 rooms, 10 stairs. It takes at least 1 week to visit it. And the group from last week is still turning around over there. When I saw them this morning, they were looking a little bit pale, but they promised to come out for next week. This is what is going to happen. So you can see here at the beginning of the bridge 2 lions, and they symbolizing the British Empire, but they don't have tongues. It was a mistake of the sculpture. When the architect saw that the lions now missing the tongues, he wanted to commit suicide, you know, because it was such a disgrace. But Hungarian people offered him a bottle of palinka, the hot spirit here, and he decided to settle down here. So he preferred palinka to suicide, which is, I guess, a good option. We arrive here on the main street of the district of the Buda side. We call it Fő utca. Fő is main in Hungarian. And in the past of the Roman times, it was the place called Via Romana, because when we did the renovation, it's so clean. I'll tell you in a second why it's so clean. Take a look here on the left hand side. You see a Lutheran Calvinist temple here of the center of the Buda side of the 1900s, and you can see a detail on the roof. It is made of painted tiles made of porcelain and china, giving a very beautiful drawing on the top of it that you will find also in Matthias Church in the district of the castle. This typical pattern with little tiles painted with different colors. You're gonna see the same kind of architecture when you go to Vienna at St. Stephen Cathedral. Maybe you've been over there already. So coming back to tell you why we say that the Hungarian parliament is so clean. Because I always say construction lasted 20 years. Reconstruction lasted even more. You know, we started to build it up 1887, opened it with an assembly 1907 already, you know, but during Second World War it was badly damaged. So we started renovation 1947 and ended up, you know, 2014. So that's a long way, you know. And what happened, you know, when it was 2014, it was the time of the big floods of the Danube. You know, so the water went into the visitor center. You had to wait another. You have on the bridge are the same lamps that you have on the Concorde Square in Paris, you know, and it was built up by Gustave Eiffel, you know, the famous French architect, who built up also the bridge that you saw at the beginning of the tour when you have to go to the Central Market Hall, the Green Bridge. Elizabeth Bridge was also built by Eiffel, but this one is a very interesting because it has an access to the south of the Margaret Island, you know. And when you take a look at the bridge from the sky, you know, from the plane, you see that the bridge has the shape of a Y letter. Do you know what has the shape of a Y letter built up by Eiffel in Paris? The tower, of course, the tower. And it's very interesting because when we discovered notes he left in the West Railway Station, what he built also at the end of the 19th century, he said, I want to build a two-dimensional representation of the tower here on the Danube. Because I'm afraid maybe French people want to dismantle it in Paris, you know. And it is true, when you're coming by night with the little lights, you see the drawing of the Eiffel Tower on the Danube. And you have to cross the Margaret Island to go to the airport. So this is a must go, you know, anyway. And this is why we don't know, but he had, you know, a vision in the future that maybe this will be happening. So, by the way, here you can see with the beautiful sun shining on the Danube, nice view on the shade of the parliament over there. And here on the left you have an access to the Margaret Island, which is a collection of 3 little islands they put together at the end of the 19th century to protect the city center from the floods. But when we were occupied by the Turks at the end of the 15th century, it was the place of the harem of the Pasha Suleiman the Great. And you know how many girlfriends he had over there? Give me a number. Too many? 5,000. We're waiting for him here every evening. This is why he had to eat a lot of paprika. Paprika, supernatural spice we invented from grinding the red peppers that were brought by the Turks. Did you know that we like to call paprika for ladies the Hungarian natural Botox? Because if you put it on your lips, you're gonna have the same lips like Pamela Anderson. For men, if you touch it and after you touch something else, you're gonna have surprises. But I'm telling you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we arrived now on the Pest side. Do you feel the difference? Oh yes, you feel like more Pestish or Budaish, at least maybe what we're gonna see maybe later on, because there always been an opposition between the two sides of the city. People from Buda don't like too much the people from Pest, and people from Pest, they hate the people from Buda for that. But that's another story. I will tell you what is the opposition between the two sides. You can see at the end of the tramway line, straight in front of us, the beginning of the building of the parliament, Louis Kossuth Square, And it was the place when the 23rd of October 1956 we started a revolution against the communists and also against the Russian tanks. Anyway, this is what happened. You are living a little bit the period of the Hungarian Free Revolution of 1956 right now, because it ended up, you know, at the beginning of November 1956, when the Russians came here with 8 divisions of tanks and destroyed the revolution. By the way, now you can see on the left-hand side the beautiful bridge, Beethoven Eiffel, and you can see the very special. Remember during the tour I was talking to you about Matthias. Matthias was the king nicknamed the Raven. Why he was nicknamed the Raven? Because he was always dressed in black. He was clever like a raven, and he had a very big nose. Stayed here 400 years. And sometimes we did late fellows here, Frank Rákóczi and Luis Kossuth. In 1848, he said, I am the free prime minister of free democratic Hungary against the Austrian Empire. But the Austrians got together with their enemies, the Russians again, and they crushed down our revolution. So we were under their rules until the end of the First World War. Then during Second World War came the Nazis, then came the Russians. We're only independent since King Matthias, only in 1991. But we don't know for how long. That's another story. Let me show you now the local Dracula castle. If you're afraid, you can stay behind.
Được không?
Đi vô nó cấm tay cấm đây liên tục.
Liên tục.
Far.